Hi guys, today is the final day, the encore day of your first sale in 2026 art challenge. And today we're going to be hitting topics about pricing your artwork, talking to collectors, and selling secrets. So the first one I want to talk to you about is the law of comparison and the pricing ladder. This is an important one, so pay attention. What you can do is have your largest piece that has either bright, bold colors, has the most detail, is the piece that's very sentimentally important to you, and is the most interesting, as your magnet piece. And what's a magnet piece? It attracts people to your wall space like a magnet. And you should price this more than 1,000. It can be slightly more than 1,000 depending on where you are in the marketplace. If you're more new or if you're more experienced, it can be much more than 1,000. And then having at least one medium and one small piece that are priced lower than that. You can decide the prices for yourself. But another thing that helps with pricing that you should know is in the art world, pieces that are $500 or $400 or less sell with the least resistance from collectors much more easy than pieces that are above that price. And if you're going to sell pieces above that price, make sure you have a certificate of authenticity for your art. Each piece should have it regardless, but definitely if it's more than that. And then Thais, why don't you give them the next tip?
Well, first I want to say that we have a template for the authenticity certificate in our course, Art Business Mastery, as well as the calculator for the prices and so many more. And all these tips are in the course and deeper than that. We have the ebook 99 Secrets to Sell Your Art. And in the course, there's lots of other modules and more information and other bonuses and templates. So check it out in the link. What I wanted to say about what Sophocles said of the range of the prices, he said, this information may sound strange if your art is above 500, which is common or is the goal. Everybody wants to have prices that are a lot more than that. But this tip is so you know if you don't have those pieces in that range of prices, make sure you have items on those prices. So it can be prints. You can sell prints from 50 to 500, depends on what you send in the market and the quality of your prints. Or you can do smaller pieces to sell like a collection of very small pieces. So you can sell at that range because if there are people wanting to buy but they cannot afford your bigger or your main pieces, they can buy those things, so you have something to offer. And sometimes collectors start from those items like a print, a smaller piece, and they end up collecting more from you. So don't miss the chance. And also if you sell multiple of those, it can also be very profitable. So about pricing, that's what we had for today. And now I want to talk about something very important that brings a lot of anxiety in many artists, that is talking to collectors. And before I say that, I want to tell a story that I read about recently, and it's really, really interesting. It's about how Van Gogh went from selling nothing to be sold for billions nowadays. And this is about the story behind the art, because he had all those paintings lying there. He died, and then his brother, who was his how do you call it, the one that supported him his whole life, died. I believe it was 6 months after, and his sister-in-law stayed with the little baby and all those paintings lying around. And she tried to sell, and she couldn't. She would try to put in galleries and exhibitions. Her husband was a marchand, and still she couldn't do it. Then she found the letters that they wrote to each other, Van Gogh and Theo, who was the brother, and they used to write to each other like daily. And she turned that into a book. Today you can find this book. I have this book. It's called Letters to Theo. But back in the day, I think it was the story of a painter or something like that. And she made that book, and that book has a detailed stories of each painting, but not only that, but the story of a painter and all his feelings and all his conflicts right there. And that became a hit, and everything was sold. And now Van Gogh is Van Gogh. It's my favorite painter, by the way. And that being said, it's something we say to artists all the time: stories sell art. And I think that's the most important factor that sells your art. We talked about this in the challenge already, but I want to say that you need to have this story, your art story, prepared, because you're going to be asked about it. The collector will ask about it, and even if it doesn't, you can create a way to tell the story, because that's the part that is going to create the connection. And if you leave for the moment of the conversation, when he asks, you start thinking about it and answering in that moment, it sounds inconsistent. So have it ready, not only the story of the piece, but your story, why you are a painter or a sculptor. Sculpturist, that's how you say it? Sculptor. I'm sorry, I'm from Brazil. And you can say what brought you there. Have all this, because not only in art, but everybody is fascinated by stories. So, and of course you have a story, and even when you think you don't, like you made a piece and you just put the canvas in front of you and you stay there trying to get some inspiration, and that didn't came to you and you went to do something else and something inspired you, that is the story. So there's always a story behind your piece. Or sometimes you don't see, you can ask for people who know you why they like the piece, and you will understand more, because sometimes we don't know, we just paint and we don't know, but people who know us, they understand. Like I have an example, I like to paint with large strokes, and that gives a look very kind of rough to my paintings, and the colors are very bold. And my mom said, you were never good with you were never a delicate person, like you don't talk in a way that you care about details, you're always very rough, and when you paint it's like your personality. So there's always a story in every stroke. That's what I want to say. So learn about this and learn how to talk about this, and you're going to be able to talk to your collectors, but also it's important to be in press. And when you are going to have an article about you, it's going to be about those stories. So you need to know those stories. There's also another point that is what brings anxiety to artists, is how to start the conversation. And Sofocles is very good with that. He can tell you more.
So a great way to start a conversation with a collector is, after introducing yourself and asking their name, lead off with a compliment, like, oh, I love that shirt, or that's a pretty dress, or I like your hair that way, something like that. And then keep the conversation flowing and going by, if you notice they're looking at your artwork on the wall or a specific piece, you can say, oh, by the way, I'm the artist, and which one of these pieces inspires you the most, or is your favorite, or did you connect with the most? And then they'll think about it for a second, or they'll know immediately, and then they'll point it out and say it to you. And that's the perfect way to bridge your story about your painting into it smoothly and naturally. And you'll be like, oh, well, funny story. Did you know that blah, blah, blah? Did you know that I was going for a walk down the street and a car almost hit me, and I got out of the way really quickly? So I decided to paint a painting of a car going down a road. Whatever the story is, it's just a random thing that I thought of right off the top of my head. Whatever the story is, stories help connect an emotion and intrigue and interest into the collector's mind. And just like you love movies, books, TV shows, they're all stories. And everyone from the beginning of time has loved stories. So that's a great way to get people to see deeper into your relationship with your art, and for them to build a relationship with your art, so that they are more likely to buy it.
Exactly. Another thing is, like we said, it's important to be in press. If you're not, DM us, we can help. We are agents. We represent artists. We can do mentorship, and we connect you to the press. But an important thing about that is, once you are featured in an article or a magazine or whatever, show that. So post about it, put on your Instagram, your website if you have one. Anyway, you need to show that. And also a good tip is to print, if it's online, print and bring to your shows. Sophocles even have it framed when he was featured in a newspaper, right?
Yeah, a really awesome article from the Staten Island Advance from like more than 10 years ago. And I have new articles in a plastic protective sheet. It's only like 8.5 by 11 and it fits in it easily. And it doesn't take up much space, which is perfect. More modern ones that have images of the shows that we've curated together and that we've exhibited in, and my story too, which has helped me sell a lot of prints, comic books, and pieces in the past.
Yeah.
So guys, that is the end of the Your First Sale of 2026 Art Challenge. We've had a blast doing this challenge. We hope you got a lot of value from doing it. It's been so much fun for us, and we hope it's been a lot of fun for you. But stay tuned to this community. There'll be more challenges in the future. If you want more information about our course, Art Business Mastery, or BAM Red Dot, 99 Secrets to Sell Your Art ebook, or artist representation or mentorship, feel free to send us a direct message either on Facebook or on Instagram, and we'll answer you as soon as we can and give you more information about it. We can even set up a call that we can have a quick consult and talk to you about the benefits of either of those options.
Yeah. Bye bye, guys. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure is all ours.